Hi guys, it's Helly and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm making a video on inspirational and motivating reads. Note that I have completely stayed out of very cliche books. When you do a basic Google search like inspirational books, they will recommend you books like Alchemist and Secret. So I don't want to do that. I have recommended these books in the past. So in today's video, I hope that you find some unique books that you have probably not heard about before, or even if you've heard about them, maybe you've not read them, so that I can give you some brand new book recommendations. Without any further ado, let's get into this video. The first book that I'll recommend is The Awakening by Grant Langley. If you are someone who is interested in both fantasy and inspirational reads, this book is going to intrigue you a lot. I would like to thank the author for sponsoring today's video, because that's what has made this video possible today. But when I started reading this book, I was very intrigued by the setting of this book. It is set in a forest, and it's sort of like away from civilization, I'll say, and it's very interesting to read about the life of these people. Our central character is Jabuti. He has his own share of personal tragedy. There's a wise old shaman who is sort of one of the secondary characters of this book, but also very influential in this book. And how Jabuti goes on these adventures and the things that he discovers about himself and the world, that is what is worth reading about this book. As I told you guys, I really like the language of this book and the way the setting is. The language of this book is very beautiful. I would just read the first few lines. On the banks of the mighty Orinoco River stands a solitary figure leaning against a gnarled old tree. He gazes absently across the river's vast expanse. The words are very beautifully portraying the scene out there, and if you read this more, you'll be enchanted by the imagery inside this book, which I think was one of the strongest parts about this book. This is actually sort of a trilogy. There are two more books, A Courageous Heart and Hope Not Lost. I was sent these books and I was not obligated to show them, but I still wanted to show them because since I am enjoying this one, I am sure that these will also be worth it. I really like the cover of this particular book actually. So yeah, I can't wait to dive into it. I'm not sure okay, this is book 3 of the whole trilogy. So yeah, that is it. If good language and good plot intrigue you, then please pick up these books. All the links to buy this and the other books that I'm going to recommend in today's video are in the description below, so make sure you check it out and let me know if you like them. The next book that I'll talk about is this book that I read on Storytel, and this book is very inspirational because this actually changed the way I live my life on a regular basis, and that is called Digital Minimalism. This book is by Cal Newport. This guy has written another book called Deep Work. If you are acquainted with the world of non-fiction books, you know about this book definitely. It is very popular. But Digital Minimalism is also beautiful. This book talks about how we are so dependent on our phone. Last week I actually saw a very nice video on Vitamins 3 by Rega Jha, which was on why we can't stop scrolling. And if you read Digital Minimalism, you will see how you can actually stop scrolling and actually live your life outside the phone that you have. Digital Minimalism talks about a lot of ways by which you can stop being so attached to your phone and actually go out and do stuff and live your life. I read Digital Minimalism on Storytel, and a link to a 30-day free trial of Storytel will be in the description below as usual if you are someone who wants to read a lot of audiobooks. And honestly, it's very cheap compared to buying paperbacks. So if you want to go for audiobooks, make sure you make use of the 30-day free trial. The next book that I found very inspirational was The Young and the Restless. This book is by Gurmeher Kaur, one of my favorite writers, I might say. She's so young and she's so brilliant. Really gives me a lot of complex. But this book is so different from her first book, which was Small Acts of Freedom. Like, I did not expect the two books to be so different, honestly. But they are the good different. This book is very inspirational if you want to improve or develop your political ideologies, your political thoughts. And what I found the most interesting about this book was this chapter where you get to know a lot about Shiv Sena, their ideologies, and It is very different from what I thought. Like, this book was like a total shocker for me from the beginning to the end. The thing is, when you read this book, your thoughts are going to develop massively. You're going to understand the relation of youth with politics, education, the environment, liberalism, etc. There are 8 chapters in this book, and all of them are very different from each other. A fact that I discovered from this book is that about 650 million people in India are under the age 25, which means the youth of India is very huge, and yet our politicians are very, very old in age, and there's obviously a generational gap, a thinking gap. But I would like to think that the youth has the power to lead the world, and if you read this book, you're gonna believe in that too. So yeah, maybe pick it up. The next book that I think you'll find very inspirational is this book called Ikigai. I have already made a video on Ikigai and the whole concept of it. If you don't know what Ikigai is basically a happy coexistence of 4 factors of your life, and basically it is a section of your life where you will be the happiest. And it is very difficult to find your Ikigai, but it's very important to find your Ikigai, otherwise you won't be able to live happily. I have already made a video on Ikigai, so make sure you check it out if you haven't already. But I'd highly suggest getting this book, doing the activities that are there in this book, and finding your own Ikigai. Next book that I'll recommend is this book that I am absolutely crazy about, and this book is called Persepolis. This book is by Marjane Satrapi. This is a graphic novel, and if I was stranded in an island for 10 years, this is the book that I am gonna carry with me. I love this book so much. This book is set in Iran, and this girl, Marjane Satrapi, she's a child of radical Marxists. So the thing is, the sort of environment and the sort of thought that they're very, very contradictory, and the situation in which they grow up is absolutely, I'll not say terrible, I'll say pathetic, because it's, when you read this book, your blood is going to boil, and that is why I love this book. This girl, Marjane Satrapi, she's absolutely so talented. I have read some other books, graphic novels definitely by her, and none of them read like children's novels. They are very mature in thought. They are very adult in their content. Make sure you don't read it if you're under 13, but above that, I think this book is a must read for everyone in this world. Next book that I'll recommend, actually it's a poet that I'll recommend, and it's Rilke. I think poetry is extremely important to keep yourself inspired. Poetry is where you find your inner soul, you find your inner desires expressed in words that you've probably not come up with as yet, and I find Rilke's poetry amazing. Also, I like his letters as well. Another person whose poetry, or he sort of posts like shairis, and this guy is called Ayushmann Khurrana. I'm pretty sure all of you know him if you're Indian. I absolutely love his tweets, and wherever he posted those, they are so beautiful and heart-touching 2 lines. But yeah, that I just wanted to say that it's not related to the book recommendations at all. The next book that I'll recommend is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. This book is a must read for those of you who want to make a business. But even if you don't want to do business, you should know your why. Why are you doing the shit that you're doing? Like, what is the reason? Like, is it just to kill time? Is it to save someone? It is to help someone? Is it to, just be happy? What is your why? What is that why that drives you? That is going to make all the difference. And this book is very, very inspiring if you are getting started with working. But I won't really recommend this for people who are still in the academics. The next book that I'll recommend is We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. There's actually a TED Talk as well on almost the same content as the book. So you can check that out as well if you don't want to read the book. The book is also available on Storytel, so if you just want to listen. This book is very short, but yet it explains the concept and the requirement of feminism very beautifully. Problem is that there is so much negativity surrounding feminism right now, and it's absolutely crazy, and we really need to go back to the basics and develop our thoughts, men and women together. Next book that I recommend is How to Grow Fresh Air. If you want to be inspired, have plants around you. By the way, I got a new plant. Let me show it to you guys. This is my new ZZ plant, by the way. I'm so happy about it. Actually, it came with thermocol balls, and I can't take this. What should I do? Is it going to affect my plant? I have no idea. Those of you who are, excellent at plants, please tell me what I should do about these white thermocol. But otherwise, this plant looks so cute, right? I have this in my room, and I have got about 2 or 3 more plants after reading this book, and by the end of this year I want to have about 20 plants. So it's very important, what I was talking about, it's very important to breathe fresh air. If you don't breathe in fresh air, it's going to affect your body, your mind, your academics eventually, and your life, your work life. Basically, if you don't breathe fresh air, your life is going to be effed up. So please breathe fresh air. This book shares a lot of ideas about how you can breathe fresh air. Some of them are free, some of them cost only a little bit, so make sure you try out everything that is within your limits. By the way, I also have a rubber plant which is shown here. Yeah, coming back to this video, the next book that I'll recommend is this book called Zen, The Art of Simple Living. I think that a lot of inspiration comes from how you live. If your lifestyle is always about how I look, how I am going to be doing this, how I'm going to show off that, how am I going to afford this, how am I going to do this, that, you are going to never ever be happy. Just make sure that you live simpler lifestyle that you can actually keep up with, that inspires you, that makes you happy, and that also improves the environment around you. This book is so peaceful, Zen. I read this book on Storytel, and this has so many chapters. I can't even, there were over 100 chapters, but all of them are very small. I think that having a summary of this book would have been very helpful. I summed down the first 20 points, but after that I was just not able to listen and write. But coming back, Zen is a great book that you should read if you want to lead a simple, happy lifestyle. And last but not the least, I'm going to recommend Atomic Habits. If you have read Power of Habits, it's also a great recommendation, but for this video I wanted to recommend Atomic Habits because habits sort of shape the way you live, and this book is going to inspire you to adopt new habits, good habits that are going to change your life. Once you adopt good habits, good things are going to come to you, obviously. I'm not saying that you have to take up all habits that are considered good, like waking up at 5 a.m, exercising for 1 hour a day, but even if you can do a little bit to improve your life slowly, and if you want to do that, Atomic Habits is the book that is going to give you the right kind of inspiration. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and let me know in the comments below if this video helped you. I know I recommended a lot of non-fiction today, but there were also some fiction books, so I hope that all sorts of readers enjoy this video. And yeah, I guess that will be all for today's video. Till my next video.